Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And I gotta say that I actually had to remind myself that this wasn't the go-home show. Because if it was, first of all, it would have been amazing. But even just as an episode of NXT, it was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Once again, a really good tag team match from my perspective, from two teams that you normally wouldn't associate with such a concept. Velveteen Dream's build continues to be interesting, but I actually may have to give my court and commentary points later in the show because of what happened with Velveteen Dream. Johnny Gargano's explanation, good delivery. I enjoyed it. Developments in the women's division. Bianca Belair continues her warpath, and I was surprised who she crossed paths with. And next week, we also found out that we were going to get two representatives from each War Games team that are going to battle it out in a singles match. Winner of that match will get the man advantage in War Games. So a lot of developments here. Ashton, what do you think of tonight's episode?
Yeah, man, I got to tell you, it was a solid episode. I don't think I'm as high on it as you are because you seem really hyped about it, but it was still fun. Still a solid episode of NXT. And I think that there's still a really good chance that the reason I'm not as crazy about this as you is because I'm kind of still feeling those residual effects from Ultima Lucha. But all that being said, it was still a fun show. Lots of really good like narrative stuff pointing towards TakeOver War Games. No real standout matches, although the main event was the best match of the night in my opinion. And that was a solid match. And I'm ready to get into this, man.
Yeah, all right, dude. First segment, heat of the night. I'm just going to keep the ball rolling. No heats of the night. What about you?
I don't really have any full-blown, like, this pissed me off and I want them to change it kind of things, but little nitpicks. I'm not a big fan of them kind of building up these characters as potential contenders and then almost, like, tearing them back down, too. Because, like, Bianca is a really good example because we know now that Kairi is cashing in her rematch clause and we're going to be getting Kairi Shayna again at TakeOver. And we're going to probably be getting Bianca Mia next week. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm just as far as objectively, like I'm hoping that Mia wins that match because I just prefer Mia as a performer, but they're probably going to have Bianca win. But then on the other hand, we've got Velveteen Dream a week and a half away from challenging Tommaso Ciampa for the world title, and he loses here. Even if it was kind of a fuck finish, he still lost. Like, wow.
See, and wait, did you have more you wanted to add before I kind of respond to you here? Or?
I mean, no, I'm curious to see what you think about the situation because you always kind of find an angle that I usually forget about or just don't see.
Oh, well, okay, less so for the women's one because I could understand that there, and I really am hoping that, Kairi Shayna is the final encounter at War Games, and I think it will be because it will be 2 out of 3 falls. That's
right. Oh, yeah, I actually forgot about that. But
yeah, they're finally getting a step. So I won't really respond to that because I can sympathize more with that. I'm honestly surprised you're taking a bit of umbrage. Like you said, it is a nitpick, so you're not fully pissed about the Velveteen Dream thing because, like, I actually thought about you when that went down in our Rocket League conversation, how you said, like, you felt like Velveteen Dream wasn't really ready for, like, this spot. I think you even said you would have preferred a triple threat with Lars Sullivan.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, if they add Lars to the match, I'm very happy about that. But if they want to continue and just have it be Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa, I feel like that kind of leaves something, it's like it leaves me wanting more.
So I'll tell you how I'm going to respond to this because I would sign on to that nitpick, but it's a very conditional nitpick. And I know we haven't had one of those in a while, but if next week there's like no change to the world title match and Lars like isn't on this card after he just beat, fuck finish or not, the #1 contender, that really does leave questions because now, let me just get out of the way early, even though I am going to unpack it when we get to it. I loved how NXT ended tonight. I really can't wait to talk about that.
Yes, and I knew you would because you're such a mark for the one specific moment that happened.
Well, yeah, the one specific moment, but also how the crowd, like, dude, I'm just going to unpack it when we get to it. But, I definitely saw where you were coming from when it was like, it should be a triple threat and this and that. And I thought they did a lot of table setting here for that. So if they don't pull the trigger on it and it's like, oh, well, Lars got the win, I guess we'll just be waiting, lurking in the shadows kind of thing. No, fuck that. War Games already kind of feels like, I don't want to say a throwaway pay-per-view because it's got the big gimmicky match of War Games, but you know, we've got it just, I don't know, it doesn't really feel like one of those big takeovers to me. It's weird. That's not necessarily a slight. It's just kind of how everything fell into place. So
really, I don't even know if I agree with that stance. I just feel like they've really kind of laid it all out there as far as like they've put all their chips in on the War Games match, the world title, and Gargano Black taking the show away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
it's more about the War Games match because I'm pretty confident that's going to main event too. Which I mean, Ciampa might have gotten Goldie back to the main event a couple times, but he didn't keep it there.
No, he didn't. But all the more reason, right, to just do the triple threat then. If you're not going to give it the main event spot, because I want Velveteen in that spot. So really, this helps both of us because you know how highly I regard Velveteen Dream. I want to see him main event a takeover. But this clearly isn't going to be it. Not with fucking War Games. No way in hell is that happening. So you put Lars in there. And again, just speaking abstractly, because I know preview predictions is next week, and we're talking about a match that isn't even officially on the card. We're talking about Lars in it. You have Lars eat the pin. Then you have Velveteen and Tommaso continue their thing. Because I'll be honest, too, with just the two of them, I've been a bit underwhelmed by the build. I want to see more like exchanges between them verbally and stuff. So I think if you use Lars as a buffer, you buy them more time. So really, to me, Lars getting the win, I trust NXT. NXT has enough of my goodwill for me to say that I don't think that was just a win for the sake of giving Ciampa something. I think it was a win to give Lars something, an entry into this championship match. But we'll see, because if it's not done next week, then it's just not going to happen. So yeah,
we'll see, man. We will see, because I'm pretty convinced that they're just going to keep it as Dream versus Ciampa, and that kind of makes me feel a little more sour about it.
Yeah, and see, dude, like I said, it's a conditional nitpick, because if that is the case, I will definitely sign on with you.
But I will also say, I do agree with you on one point that you made, and that's that, like, if you were going to have kind of a world title match that I personally feel a little bit sour about, what better show to do it on than a show that it's not even main eventing?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And as far as between like the little scenario that you laid out, in my opinion, I don't think that Dream is long for the NXT roster at all, much less the NXT title picture. I wouldn't actually be surprised if he debuted at the Royal Rumble and stayed up on the main roster from that point. And we've also got to remember that the day before the Royal Rumble is the next takeover after War Games. So I feel like Dream is going to have some kind of final match, maybe even against Dream, or maybe even against Aleister Black, since they have kind of like the most storied rivalry in NXT. And maybe that could even be like a #1 contendership match or something along those lines. And that'll be Dream's last match, I'm guessing, on the NXT roster before he gets called up.
Very interesting. I mean, because let's remember, a Royal Rumble appearance doesn't always translate to a call, because Adam Cole is in the Royal Rumble.
No, yeah, like it doesn't always, but we have seen instances where it did.
Yeah, so it really is. It's a coin toss, really. There is a precedent, but it's not one that's always seen. So yeah, dude, there's a lot to unpack. I will praise NXT for this, though, since we're still kind of in the negative session and we're about to transition. I'm actually amazed that I was as into this episode as I was, given how Lucha Underground Season 4 ended tonight. Because I thought I would just be like, man, fuck this, get through it. But no, they really did good stuff, and Velveteen was a big part of that. But again, I have more to say about that when we get to the appropriate segment. So in the meantime, is there anything else that you kind of wanted to air out,
man? Let's see. I think that about covers it. There's some weird little like 50-50 booking kind of stuff going on, but I can't complain too much about that when it's mostly lower to mid-card stuff. So yeah, I'm good. Let's move on.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from there, and we'll get to that in a second as we get right into our NXT review. And I'm hopped up on this, and if I remember correctly, we open up with a tag team match after like recap and shit. Heavy Machinery versus the Forgotten Sons, represented by Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, with Jackson Riker at ringside. Now, Ashton, clearly, like, I was more enthused about NXT, so I'm going to hand you the ball a lot first, because I think I have quite a bit to say about, like, a lot of the stuff that happened tonight. So what did you think of this tag match?
Yeah, this was a solid, like, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't anything worth writing home about, and I don't think it was even as good as the main event, which I wasn't really blown away by either, but it was solid. It wasn't boring by any means. I think out of the Forgotten Sons, I think my favorite is actually Jackson Riker out of those three guys. And I could have told you that before I even saw them, just because of what they've done before the Forgotten Sons became a thing, because I was actually a Gunner fan when he was in TNA, and Phil Shatter before that, even when he was in the NWA. And you know, I like him, and you know, Wesley Blake to me was like the Jannetty of Blurfy. And then you've got Steve Cutler, who prior to this was always more of like a local talent jobber type. So I really haven't really gotten too invested in those two guys. Whereas with Jackson Riker, I feel like he could be another like Bobby Roode, you know, type of character where he could ultimately be a main eventer in NXT as like that like top asshole heel that everyone wants to see lose. But that said, Otis Dozovic, holy shit. Like Otis Dozovic just did everything here and was very impressive. Now, Tucker Knight is an athletic dude, but he doesn't have the personality. Like Tucker Knight is very one-dimensional, just as far as like, yeah, he's a pretty good in-ring guy. Like he's a solid hand. He's sort of like a mechanic type, but he's at least got the size to make his opponents look credible. Otis, he's got star written all over him. And we've been saying that for a while now. And we, you know, I think NXT even knows that too, because they're the ones that put him against Ciampa that one time. So yeah, they know what they've got in Otis, and he is coming along greatly. Or I don't think greatly is even a word. He's coming along extremely well. How's that?
Well, greatly also works, but yeah, just to kind
is that a word? I didn't know that was even a word.
Yeah, it should be. But yeah, just to kind of work backwards with Liverpool, because I love this match, honestly. Like, this is the second straight week. I feel like NXT has had a really good tag match in my eyes with teams that you wouldn't really expect.
See, now I remember last week's. I won't remember this week's by next week.
I think I'll remember bits thanks to the Forgotten Sons, because, dude, actually, no, before I get to them, because I want to save them, I did want to touch on Otis. I like how they're building him, dude. They give him, like, I don't know if you really took note, but like they gave him moments in this tag match the same way they gave him the match with Ciampa, where it was kind of the nod. I think they gave him the best moments as like a tag team competitor, because he had that near fall save where he dove and he saved Tucker, right, and then he got the winning pin for his team. So like they are really positioning Otis, which they're
basically they're positioning him as like the Drew McIntyre to Tucker Knight's Dolph Ziggler.
Exactly. And I will say, like, I like Tucker Knight here too. I thought this was one of his better showings in a while. Which again,
yeah, it's funny because like last week we were talking about like how Montez is so clearly the Michaels to Angelo Dawkins Jannetty, but I gave Angelo Dawkins credit because he did some really good athletic stuff in last week's, and Tucker Knight did some really good athletic stuff here too. But like you can just tell who has the personality and who doesn't.
But I gotta say, for my money, because I mean, you showed where you're coming from. Like, you're all about Otis. Like, Otis really showed the star factor for you. For me, I fucking love Forgotten Sons, and not just Jackson Riker either. I think this is the best stuff Wesley Blake has done. All due respect to Buddy Murphy, I'm actually a bigger fan of him here than I was in Blorfexa, to be honest. I really like the aesthetic of this group. I like how they carry themselves. They had the double team that they did where Cutler is kind of holding up, I think it was Tucker, or maybe it was Otis, with the arms stretched out, and then Blake comes with the elbow drop. That was fucking great. I honestly thought that was the finish. Great back and forth between both teams. Good near falls. Great fake outs, too, because I thought, you know, when the compactor was countered by the Forgotten Sons, like, oh, shit, this is where they're going to win, because they got the inverted DDT, and then it's going to be the single stomp off the top rope, how they won that one match. But then Tucker Knight comes back in, and then Otis obviously gets the win with almost like a world's strongest slam of sorts. I was miffed that the Forgotten Sons didn't win, because, again, I love the aesthetic of the group. I love how these guys carry themselves. Cutler, I'm guessing he's dealing with an injury, but honestly, I dug the mask. I'm like, you know, that's different. I was even afraid, and this was my relief, because Riker didn't look pleased. I thought they were going to take it out on Blake, because I think he was the one that ate the pin. Thankfully, that did not happen, because I really do like all three guys in this group. But I will say, Riker, if we're talking about guys that could later break out into singles, Riker is definitely the guy. But Blake and Cutler as a tag team, that shit works for me. Also, nice splash by Blake. That was another double team, too, the suplex into the splash. A little callback to Blake and Murphy, actually, although that was more a standard splash. I think Blake used to do the frog splash when he was...
No, I think you're right, though, because I know, and I even thought about this when they did it. I thought this was going to be the finish, because Cutler did a superplex, and then you get, you know, Blake with the frog splash, or the regular old, like, or whatever it was. But Murphy didn't need to go up to the top rope. He just did a straight up deadlift running suplex. Like, I fucking love Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, oh, Buddy Murphy's fucking.
Yeah, that's the good thing that came out of this match to me, was that it just reminded me of how amazing Buddy Murphy is. And speaking,
I mean,
he had a match. He had a match on 205 Live today against someone that I'm forgetting.
Mark Andrews.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, you know your shit.
But yeah, dude, I fucking love Forgotten Sons. Like, I'm actually enjoying this conversation tonight because we took away different things, I'm guessing, from like a lot of the stuff that happened tonight. But Forgotten Sons are doing it for me. And again, I am pissed that they lost because, again, I say, man, I see it in this faction. I really think they could be something special, and I hated that they lost. I'm like, God damn it. The whole point is that they're supposed to send a message that they're never forgotten again. And I feel like this is taking it down a slippery slope when you start losing to being forgotten again. So, like, it's kind of fucking with me a little bit. But this was a fun match. I'd say it was one of Heavy Machinery's best tag matches. And I would say the same for Forgotten Sons. Heavy Machinery really stepped up here. And I will definitely co-sign with you that Otis continues to exude that star quality, and NXT keeps nurturing that because he is the standout, making the saves, getting the pin. You know, they're positioning him as that guy. I don't know if Tucker would ever turn on Otis, if they do, like, you know, Tag Team Dissolution 101, or if they would go about it a bit differently. But I do think Otis has a bright future. The crowd's really into him. And I just hope Forgotten Sons can bounce back from this, man. I would love, you know, we keep talking about Dusty Classic. If the Mighty wouldn't win it, or if Bro Lee wouldn't win it, you know, Forgotten Sons, that'd be another name I'd toss out there. I think these guys really need a jump start, and it just sucks that they didn't get it here. But great match all the same. Heavy Machinery wins.
Yeah, see, and I was even thinking, like, it feels to me like they're building towards a Street Profits versus Heavy Machinery match for #1 contendership, where the winner would then go on to face, you know, I'm assuming the Undisputed Era, because it doesn't seem like those titles are going to be on the line at War Games.
Which is also kind of perplexing, because if the face team wins, I mean, War Raiders ain't done. Like, you know, like, we won War Games, we won another shot at the NXT tag titles. But I do agree, Ash, and I do think that NXT is slowly getting the pieces together to have a undercard team become #1 contender so that they can challenge for it and get a bit of a rub from the Undisputed Era, which to me is smart. You know, that's good business. You got to invest in your future. So whether it's Heavy Machinery or Street Profits, you know, it's good stuff. And let's remember, Street Profits, I think, only got one NXT tag title matchup, same as Heavy Machinery, and both guys faced AOP. You know, Undisputed Era, I think they are very deadly and very capable, like kayfabe-wise, but I'd have to imagine that for either of those teams, Heavy Machinery or Street Profits, they would have a better showing, and it could make for an interesting angle. So I'm open to either, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Man. NXT tag division is very loaded between Undisputed Era, War Raiders, British Strong Style, Lorcan and Burt, Street Profits, these guys, Heavy Machinery, the Mighty. I mean, we even just saw the Forgotten Sons. Like, there are so many tag teams that it's definitely feeling primed for the Dusty Classic, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I am loving the tag division right now. I think it's in a great place. I am very happy with it. And again, I think Forgotten Sons is really emerging as one of my favorite teams in the division. So I just really hope they get back on a winning path soon.
Yeah, I hope that you and I get on the same page with them, because I really want to see what you see, but I'm just not into them as a group. I'm more into Jackson Riker as a solo star.
Hey, dude, and again, that's understandable, because I will co-sign on with you that if we're looking at, like, tag teams as kind of a, you know,
launching pad,
a launching pad for a singles career, then yeah, Jackson Riker's your guy. But I love the unit, and you know, it's kind of nice to have these spirited.
Maybe that's why I'm not seeing it, though, because you are more of a fan of just pure tag team wrestling, whereas I kind of try and think about, like, where these guys are going to end up 2 or 3 years from now, and I know how Vince's mind works, and he always uses tag teams to catapult someone.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So, brother, I'm pleasantly surprised the spirited discussion we had about this, but what came after this?
Well, we got a recap of last week with Candice showing up and being pissed off at Nikki Cross, and then Aleister Black getting involved. And then we got an interview with Candice LeRae, and she said that everything that's going on between her and her husband, she wants to keep between the two of them. She said that she's not here to be exploited, after being asked if she had heard from Johnny since he attacked Aleister Black. And then she says she has questions too for Nikki Cross, and she wants a match. And I don't think that we actually got that match made official for next week or anything like that. So I'm guessing that's either going to be, actually, no, not even going to be. I'm guessing that that match is going to take place before TakeOver War Games and be taped so that it's airing the following episode of NXT.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with you there. Nothing really to say about Candace. Short, sweet, and to the point. Nothing really to unpack, so we can move on.
All right. We found out that we were going to be getting a Johnny Gargano exclusive tonight, and then that our main event is going to be Lars versus Dream. Then we get a Kathy Kelly interview with Shayna Baszler, who also has Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir by her side. And she basically, she's kind of pissy because Kathy Kelly tells her, you beat Kairi Sane, but what are you going to do when she decides to invoke her rematch clause? And Shayna's just like, when are you people going to get it? Kairi Sane is insignificant. But then Regal shows up to inform her that Kairi has, in fact, invoked her rematch clause for TakeOver War Games. And then, Shayna was kind of bitchy towards Kathy Kelly, which immediately got me on my toes. And it's like, don't you dare.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very tense moment there, but Shayna and her posse, which I've dubbed, or I should say Goodfellow has dubbed, the MMA meanies. Actually, I got that from Asia, so thank you, Asia, and I'm borrowing it here. They just feel like they run the place. Kairi is not insignificant. She'll always be our champion. And I will say on a more serious note, 2 out of 3 falls, I think it's the perfect cap to this rivalry.
Yes.
I hope it's good. I did say that I thought their Evolution match was their best match because I thought it told like a nice.
Dude, I don't even know if they realize it, but they've effectively told the Omega Okada story with this.
Yeah, really. That's a great point, actually.
Because Kairi beat Shayna, then Shayna beat Kairi. Kairi beat Shayna, then Shayna beat Kairi, then Kairi beat Shayna for the title, then Shayna beat Kairi back for the title, and now our 5th match, which would normally be the rubber match, is 2 out of 3 falls. So it's going to be like an ultimate rubber match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ultra mega rubber match.
Listen to you. And you're right. So this should hopefully
should we call this the Magnum match, since that's the brand of rubbers that are like the biggest? Never mind.
You know what? Let's just go with it. Let's embrace it. Yeah, there you go.
It's the ultimate rubber match.
The ultimate rubber match brought to you by Magnum. Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. NXT Women's Championship. But yeah, I hope it's good. You know how I've just been very candid about my feelings with the feud. I don't think they've ever really had a match that was like, whoa, that was incredible. But hey, every rematch is an opportunity to right that wrong. And I feel like they did.
Well, and I also feel like every match that they've had has been progressively better than the one they had before, aside from one random episode of NXT TV where Shayna beat Kairi.
And I would agree with you there. I feel like Evolution was their best match. So now if they can really put it all together for 2 out of 3 falls, you could do something special there. So, yeah, good stuff.
You can do something special, girls!
But, yeah, and the most noteworthy thing of the promo was Shayna does bring to our attention again that she is the first ever 2-time NXT Women's Champion. So, great feather in the cap of Shayna Baszler. Sure, Catch Wrestling U shed some tears of joy there. And, yeah, looking forward to TakeOver War Games to see Kairi and Shayna tear it up for, hopefully the last time. Because I'm really looking forward to this feud being punctuated and one of them just moving on to something else.
Yeah, dude, do you kind of get the feeling that the 3 of them are going to end up getting called up to whatever show Ronda ends up on, just because then we get the 4 horsewomen?
Probably. I mean, that would be smart money to me.
I'm going to guess, though, that doesn't happen until after WrestleMania. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think you'd be logical.
Or maybe it'll even happen at WrestleMania to help Ronda retain the title that she goes into it with.
Maybe. Although, dude, no, I'm not going to get into it. That's pure fantasy booking. I don't want to deal with that here. But,
well, no, I want to know what you were thinking now.
Well, no, because I was just going to say, like, Ronda could lose the title at Mania, and maybe, like, she invokes her rematch. I don't know what the first pay-per-view would be, because I don't think it's Backlash, but whatever the...
I think it is Backlash, actually.
So it would be Backlash. And then,
because I'm pretty sure with the new pay-per-view schedule, it goes Mania, Backlash, Extreme Rules, Money in the Bank, Battleground, SummerSlam, etc.
And we main event Raw with, Ronda addressing the universe after a WrestleMania loss because, nobody thought that, Charlotte could beat Ronda, which I don't know why. And then, her posse, Shayna, Jessamine, and Marina, they all come out and in a Shield Nexus-style beatdown just lay waste to Charlotte. And honestly, the arena, I would love that. I'd love for them to just be fucking badasses tear shit up. And if you really want to be progressive with women in the main event and stuff like that, make them look fearsome like that.
Yeah, like basically have them be another Shield type entity.
Dude, absolutely. Like Ronda could turn on the crowd and Charlotte, like sucker punch her there. Charlotte starts to make the comeback because, well, you know, she does it with flair, right? And then you have the other three women, you know, Shayna, Jessamine, and Marina come out and they just all lay waste to Charlotte, and then the locker room doesn't come out to help because fuck Charlotte. So yeah, I think, yeah, I would just have them be a force, dude. I really would. So I agree with you. Smart money to me says a post WrestleMania call up, or maybe even an at WrestleMania debut. I mean, God. Yeah. And then, you know, 2019 Survivor Series, 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Because then you let Becky, you give her ample time to kind of finish her current run, maybe kind of see the benefits of repairing with her friends. And, you know, I doubt they're going to do anything with Sasha and Bayley because they haven't done anything with them, so nobody's going to turn on the other. And Charlotte's going to Charlotte. So all the pieces are mostly there. We just got to let Becky just continue to be fucking amazing, but make a little detour along the way.
I wonder if they would do that on Raw or if they would do that on SmackDown, though. I almost feel like it would be easier to do it on SmackDown because then you've got like the Fox deal and it feels real sporty and stuff like that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, dude, I have to keep remembering that Fox deal because I think that's going to shake a lot of shit up. Yeah, which, yeah, I say that. We don't even know if we're going to have a superstar shakeup, and that may even change more stuff. But yeah, I definitely.
That almost also kind of makes you wonder if they're going to do away with the brand split like the rumor came out.
Yeah, that's true. But I think, Ashton, to bring it back to the central point, which was this Shayna segment with Jessamine and Marina, I think 2019 is going to be a big year for all three of them because they're not staying here long.
Yeah, I was even going to ask you, like, over or under first year on the main roster before Shayna wins a championship?
Over or under? I'd say under. I don't think it's going to take her long at all. So that would be under, right? Like saying, under, definitely. It's not going to take her long at all, I don't think.
Nice. I actually, the reason that I'm even bringing any of this up, though, just to be clear, is because I saw somebody posted like a fantasy booking thing on Reddit, and they were literally like, they legitimately tried to fantasy book the next calendar year. Like they went from WrestleMania, they went from like current day to like SummerSlam next year, I think it was. And they tried just booking everything. And they had Shayna winning the title immediately after WrestleMania.
Wow. And dude, can I just tack on one thing since we're already kind of talking about this so openly? I feel like not only is Shayna going to win the title, but because they always talk about how they're better than the other 4 horsewomen because they never turn on each other, you have to imagine like Shayna versus Ronda most definitely is going to happen at like WrestleMania 36 or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like a fracture is going to come down the line. They're not going to rush it because I really do think that the whole loyalty they have, like, yeah, run with that shit. But Shayna's going to win the title. I don't think it'll be at Ronda's expense, but maybe Ronda will get frustrated or something will happen. That match.
Well, maybe it'll be an evolution thing where she beats someone that Ronda couldn't.
Yeah, there you go. And then, yeah, Shayna versus Ronda, you know, that version of the 4 horsewomen cannibalizing each other, that's Mania worthy in my mind. So you're going to want to do it at Mania 36 because this is 35 coming up next year, right? So, yeah, like, dude, all right. I know it's crazy to be jumping the gun that much from a simple NXT segment, but, I mean, you're right in thinking about the future because it's not going to be that much longer, I wouldn't think, until they do this. So, yeah, I think 2019 is going to be very kind to all 3 of these women. And, dude, by the way, since we're talking about it, if those women's tag titles come, which given the pairings that we're starting to see on Raw and SmackDown, Jessamine and Marina as tag team champions, we could have 4 horsemen with all the gold. I don't know. They could really dominate, so we'll see.
Yeah, like that's one of those situations where you don't really like to see one group kind of dominate, and especially when they're not like clearing away the best performers on the roster. But if it's booked right, which is like a big if with WWE because they don't fucking book anything right, but if it's booked right, it can definitely be very entertaining.
Yeah, I actually really like the idea of an all-woman faction that like sticks together and really does run the place, at least in the context of the women's division, women's championship, and the tag titles. And hell, if you do want to send somebody over to the other brand and win their championship, I mean, holy fuck, dude, what a stacked faction. Right. And here's the thing. If WWE was ever going to do that, and I hate to be that guy, but I just got to be honest about how I feel. If WWE was ever going to do that, it would be with these 4 women because of Vince's recent hard-on with MMA. Like, he absolutely would do that. So I'm really glad we had this talk. I'm really glad you said something because I did not expect this. I was just expecting like, she said stuff. Let's move on. But yeah, no, you really.
That's the second time in a row now that we got into a discussion that you were pleasantly surprised by and didn't expect.
No, absolutely. Because yeah, I'm so glad you said something. Because at the very least, I'm going to scale it all back and we'll go back to the beginning. I can say quite plainly, 2019 is going to be big for this MMA 4 horsewomen, as I'll call them. I think it's definitely going to be productive. And Shayna right now, she's the champion. But will that be for much longer? You guys will find out more next week when we do preview and predictions for TakeOver War Games.
Yeah, so, next Thursday, baby!
Look at the product! In the meantime, Ashton, what came after this?
Oh, geez. I mean, after this, we did get our second match of the night, which was Dakota Kai versus Tainara Conchi.
Dude, okay, this is probably going to be the briefest discussion because there was really like Dakota won. She did her stuff and like Tainara tried to do some stuff.
She won with the chiropractor.
Tainara is freaking Looney Tunes, man. I can't get over it. But you know what the funny thing is? And in a way, I kind of feel like a hypocrite. But like, I feel like she's Looney Tunes in a way that has a line to my funny bone more than Nikki Cross does. It's weird. I can't even explain it because it's like early on in the match. She's taunting Dakota, "Are you crazy?" And then Dakota goes like, wait, no, that was impressive. And she tries to shake her hand. Like, she's so animated and so all over the place. I'm like, woman, what is wrong with you? Like, what is going on? I still think Tainara really isn't anything to write home about in ring. But to be perfectly honest, like, and I'm not even saying exactly like, but I don't think what I'm going to say is that bad in hindsight. But I think the closest approximate to Tainara that I can see would be an Alicia Fox. Only difference being I do think Alicia gets too much hate for her in-ring work, whereas Tainara, it's looking justified at the moment. But as far as like these over-the-top personalities that like get a giggle out of me, yeah, that's probably Tainara's ceiling, is just being like the next Alicia Fox. I don't really see her going.
You know what? That's reasonably fair. Alicia Fox got into the business really young too, like Tainara too.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, again, I wasn't gonna pull a John on all of you, even though that is my name. But yeah, I mean, Dakota, she picked up a win, so she's 1-1 for the day because she lost on NXT UK, but she wins here.
You know what? Those are different universes. I'm gonna call it undefeated.
There you go. Yeah. So good on Dakota Kai for winning a move winning with a move that wasn't a kick. But
yeah, that still kind of baffles me that she just doesn't use that goddamn Kaio kick as her finish.
But yeah, Tainara's Looney Tunes. Dakota keeps winning, and yeah, undercard of the women's division. See, undercard of the women's division, it birthed Lacey Evans to an upper tier because you can clearly tell they're focused on her. And now we kind of reset and we begin again. So who else is going to get that magic rub? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about the match, Ashton. Really nothing here. Did you have anything you wanted to add personally from your vantage point?
I love that you said that magic rub.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we really haven't been on point with the phrasing lately, have we? But
you know what though, dude? I will also say, like, yeah, she doesn't have a line to my funny bone at all, like she does with you. But Tainara, when you say she's Looney Tunes, you are 100% on point because she is a fucking psychopath. Holy shit.
Dude, I don't even what?
That's the kind of woman where like the morning after, if she wakes up and you're not next to her, the first thing she's thinking is grab a knife.
Yeah, oh Jesus. If you leave me, I'll cut myself and I'll cut you. Oh shit.
Yeah, no, that you say it sarcastically, but that's the type that she reminds me of. Like she's like, she sees you like washing dishes the wrong way and she grabs a knife like she wants to fucking murder your face or something. God damn.
Honey, I told you it was warm water, then soap, then rag. God damn it. Oh.
Right? That's, dude, you're doing a parody of what I genuinely believe to be true from her.
Dude, I wish WWE would almost tap into that. Like, look, this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like wearing the gi and everything, like ditch that shit. You're going to be paired with Alicia Fox. You're both just going to be crazy together, throwing the weirdest, most incomprehensible tantrums imaginable. And it's going to want to make people kill themselves, but it's going to be gold. Oh, man. So, yeah, I got nothing else to say about this. Unless you do, we can move on, because I'm itching for another at least productive discussion. There just really wasn't to be found here in my mind.
Yeah, I don't even really know what to say anymore, so that means we need to move on. Up next, we got a Kathy Kelly Be with Mia Yim, asks how she's been, talking about, coming off the NYC and immediately signing an NXT contract. Mia says it's literally living in a dream. She has to train at the Performance Center, learn from the best of the best. She can't put it into words, and she doesn't need to because then she gets immediately interrupted by Bianca Belair. Bianca really, really over the top, healing it up here, chewing gum like a cow.
Dude, yeah.
Talking about how she hasn't gotten her title shot yet, and she's undefeated. And then, Mia talks about, I don't know what your problems are, but they're not my problems. But I do know one thing: you haven't beaten me yet. And she calls herself the HBIC, the head baddie in charge.
Dude, oh my God. Okay, first of all, just the way you delivered the line chewing like a cow, I'm so happy right now. Thank you for that. But the chewing itself, when I was watching this, it was so triggering to me, dude. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I know. That's that's one of those rare instances where I know you're doing this to make me hate you, but I'm letting it fucking work because I hate you.
Dude, and it worked on me too. And you know that I've come up to bat for Bianca on here. And I will again, like she did it as a heel tactic. That's the point. But like in the moment, I'm like, bitch, if you don't stop chewing that fucking gum, I'm like,
I will strangle it out of you.
I will go down your windpipe. So yeah, clearly I hated it so much.
It was so bad.
How much flavor can be left in it? Why do you have to chew that loud? It's your fucking gum. I don't need to be a part of this. Oh my God.
Take it from somebody who has been an asshole occasionally throughout his life. Sometimes people chew their gum like that to intentionally be annoying.
I just don't know. Like, what did I do to you? Like, I don't know. And especially,
it's like a power play. It's like you're doing it and you know it's annoying the person, but you also know that there ain't shit they're gonna do about it.
I just love that Paul comes in. It was great, wasn't it? Yeah, that's one word for it, Paul. And I just had to kind of like side eye at her and squint and just be like, girl, you know what you're doing. When she started like on and beat it, and I'm just like, oh God, stop, please. Mia comes across very genuine, very good-hearted. I like her stuff here. And Bianca, though, I'll tell you, I really wish she would have gotten to beat Nikki Cross. I don't see. I guess that'll be my nitpick, Ashton, if I did have one, and that's why I'm glad when we review the show and I'm able to kind of be like, oh wait, this did kind of bother me. I don't like that Bianca's moving on to a new opponent without ever having formally beaten Nikki Cross. Maybe they'll still correct that later. There's always time. Every new event is a chance to correct a wrong, I guess. But the idea that Nikki is now being paired up with Candice and Bianca, at least in the interim, is being paired with Mia Yim, I don't really like that. I really wish that Bianca would have gotten her big win over Nikki because I felt like they built that as like Bianca's first real challenge to her streak since she started amassing it. And then it's like, oh, well, on to the next one, I guess. So I don't really care for that, but I do think that this could be a good matchup. It's going to happen next week, Bianca versus Mia Yim. I'm really looking forward to it. I think both of these women can deliver. And I mean, hell, I thought Bianca would go over Nikki, and I was wrong. I'm assuming she's going to go over Mia, but I might be wrong there too, honestly. We'll have to wait and see next week.
I'm moving over here thinking like I really legitimately do hope Mia pulls off the upset, but like it just seems so weird that they would have Bianca's first loss be on a random episode of NXT to someone new.
Yeah, like if she's gonna lose, it would be at a takeover, like when she's finally getting her championship match.
Yeah, it definitely seems pretty likely for sure. Yeah,
that would be the end of the line. But yeah, I just don't know, like, because we have you and I both. I know sometimes we get like those things that just like annoy us or whatever, and we have our own little weird quirks. And for me, like, I'm not going to be able to let go that Bianca hasn't beaten Nikki on.
Oh God, it's the new Finn Balor title shot.
Yeah, it really is. Except I'm gonna like not mention it every week on here. Thank Christ for all of you. But it is gonna be in the back of my mind, like, you're getting this title shot. So hope they correct that, but we'll see. But yeah, good exchange between the two, and I'm excited for next week. So what came after this?
I'm excited for next year face.
Ooh, I'm always excited about your face. Hey, do you want to just kind of talk about this instead? I'm sorry, get sidetracked. Yeah, let's talk about what happened next. What happened?
Oh my god, this is really happening right now.
Hey, look, you brought it up, man. I just wanted to, I thought we were doing something.
You wanted to like feed into it and take us further off track. Whatever. Let's move on. We recap Matt Riddle's debut last week. We see the backstage exclusive with him and Keith Lee, and then Cassius Ohno sort of welcoming them, talking about General Manager William Regal's shiny new toys, and he says shiny new toys are real fun to break. And Riddle just kind of no sells it. He goes, bro, and Keith Lee goes, Lee. And then Riddle goes, bask in your glory. And then they just kind of walk away as Keith Lee is holding up the bro, like the pump in his fist kind of thing.
Yeah. Broly is great. I love the chemistry and just the camaraderie between these two. Cassius Ohno, this out of shape fucking ass. Being like, oh, I love breaking shiny new toys. Yeah, the only thing you like to break is the bank by going to all the buffet tables in the fucking cities that you're fucking touring, bitch ass. But yeah, he's probably I really don't like Cassius Ohno. He's probably gonna face Matt Riddle at TakeOver War Games.
Yeah, it would be nice if they made it into a triple threat, but I feel like that wouldn't really fit Ohno's style.
Wouldn't fit Ohno's style, and it would be weird to see Riddle and Lee go after each other when they've already like kind of established this brothership, so to speak.
This broship?
This broship, you son of a bitch. Yeah, this broship. Because I get that they're both competitors, but they're both still so new. Like, just a match between them, that's money, and you don't want to dilute it with Cassius Ohno's averageness. So, yeah, it'll probably just be Ohno versus Riddle one-on-one, and I'm hoping, like, on the lead-up to that, it's Ohno versus, or maybe Ohno versus Keith Lee would come after. So he'd be like, oh, well, I couldn't break this toy, but I'll break this one. Oh, something's going to get broken. All right, Ohno, you're back after that spirit bomb into the canvas. So, yeah, good luck, Ohno. I say that totally sarcastically. You fucking suck. Go die alone. That's all I have to say about this segment. So what happened after this?
I wanted to say something, but now I forget it. So let's just move on. We got a recap of last year's War Games, as well as the ongoing feud between Undisputed Era and War Raiders, Ricochet and Dunn. And then we got our Johnny Gargano exclusive. I transcribed this if you want me to go over the entire promo.
Oh, brother, absolutely. Floor is yours.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not actually going to try and mimic Johnny's delivery, but his delivery had almost a Joker vibe to it to me. I don't know if you got that as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Specifically Dark Knight Joker, Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah.
Maybe obviously like toned down. Like if Heath Ledger Joker was a 10, Johnny's at like a 7 or maybe even a 6.
Right. Yeah.
But I got those vibes a little bit. So he said, why Johnny, why? That's the question everyone's asking me. I've always been very open and honest with the NXT universe, so you ask and I will tell. Alistair, you talk about a path you're on. I'm on a path too. This look familiar? This is the path I took last night, or the night you were found laying. The end of that path leads me to Tommaso Ciampa. The end of that path leads me to righting a wrong, fulfilling a promise, and me being the one to beat Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. You got in the way. It's collateral damage. It's nothing personal. I'd like to think you appreciate that, seeing as you walk around here like you own the place. Black mass, whoever you want, no one bats an eye. Talking about how no man is ever truly good, no man is ever truly evil. I feel bad for you. You're confused. That's sad. I know exactly who I am. I'm the good guy. I'm the hero at the end of the story. I do one thing, one little thing that some people might consider evil, and everyone freaks out. Let me calm your worries. I am still the Johnny Gargano I always have been. I fight for what's right. What I've learned is sometimes around here, you got to fight a little dirty. So that's why, Alistair. Now, I know you probably want to kick my face off right now. That's fine. I accept that. Maybe I deserve that. But after everything I've been through, I'm not scared of you. I live in a dark, dark place, Alistair. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. Actually, I'm kind of starting to like it. And then he shows the spot that he laid Aleister Black out at. He says, that look familiar? That's the same spot I left you laying. Take over War Games, I leave you laying again.
What'd you think?
I am really struggling with this character, but I absolutely love that. Like, I love that this character is making me struggle to figure out whether I like him or not, because we've talked about before, the best heels are the ones that think they're heroes, right? The best heels are the ones that believe that they are the hero of their own story. And that can apply to Johnny here. But I also understand where he's coming from, because he sort of had this mental break happen because of what the bald piece of shit Ciampa did. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like he's doing things out of nowhere without justification just because he feels like being an asshole now. He's doing these things because he was pushed to his very limits and he snapped. And he feels like the wrong that he needs to right is Tommaso Ciampa as NXT champion. So in Johnny's mind, once he gets that title away from Ciampa, and of course the heelish thing is that he needs to be the one to do it. The heelish thing is it can't just be Ciampa needs to lose the title. It's specifically I need to be the one to take the title off of him. But once he does that, it's probably going to be like back to status quo. Like, but then again, maybe it won't be. I don't know. But like, I've said this before in the Discord, and I kind of caught some flack for it. But to me, Gargano and Ciampa are doing what Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi set out to do without getting all anime about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They are changing wrestling storytelling for the better, in my opinion. And they're doing it effectively by themselves, because Aleister Black got involved, but he is not a part of like this greater, like overarching long story that they've got going between the two of them.
No, he's merely just almost like just a utility character, if you will, to serve a purpose. It was almost like a bridge to continue into like the next arc of the story. I really enjoyed Johnny's delivery here, because like that's the thing. Because I keep up with his social media and Ciampa's, like any relevant feud, I like checking it out on social media because they've been using that more in storyline, so I feel like it's become more of a necessity. And he said, like, I've always been open and honest to you guys. If you want to know why, just ask. And he reiterated that line here. Well, really, I was taken aback at one point when he said, like, definitively with the utmost confidence, I'm the good guy. I'm the hero of this story. I was not expecting that. And when he said that, I kind of like took a look and I'm like, well, Johnny, are you sure about that? Like, that's very interesting that you would say that with the self-assuredness that you did it with. I wasn't expecting that at all. And then, like, just his stroll and pointing out the spots, like, this is where I was when you were laid out. This is where you were laid out at the end. I like the line about, I've grown to like the darkness. I don't fear it anymore. And it was never, like, in a hammy way. He came on, it was Johnny. It was Johnny just talking about, hey, this happened to me. And, I know as a result, like, you're probably going to want to do this to me, but more or less, bring it. After everything I've been through, what's the worst that you can possibly do? It was good stuff. It was good stuff. And, I know I like to have fun with Johnny. Really, I like to have fun with any character that, like, I'm against in the moment. But objectively, when we talk about these people here and their performances, I have said time and again alongside you that Johnny is a great performer. Sells his ass off for everybody. I think as a character, he's very likable. And he's also shown now that he can have some depth. He could be just as ambiguous as anybody else, making you question, well, are you really a good man or are you, this or that? So yeah, this was definitely a highlight of tonight's episode and great promo work by Johnny Wrestling. Good shit.
Yeah, man. It's a real conflict internally too, because it really, like, everything he's saying, it could be either that he believes everything he's saying and he just wants to make up for the sort of mistake that he made, letting Ciampa get the better of him mentally and kind of get inside his head and cause him to screw Aleister Black out of the NXT World title. Or he's saying everything that he knows people want to hear to get what he wants. And that's what would make him a heel. Right.
That's a good point.
And what he really wants is just the NXT championship, which obviously that's the goal for everyone. But it's such an interesting kind of two sides of a coin, because it could, like, you could go either way, and I would genuinely believe it. So I think it really, like, it's going to come down to his match with Aleister Black next Saturday. Because it's really going to come down to how he's wrestling now. Like if he's still wrestling the exact same way, he's still doing all the same moves, all the same sequences, stuff like that, then we'll know like, okay, so this is not a heel turn. This is just him using a dark path to achieve something for the greater good. But if he starts doing some cheaty shit, like grabbing tights or feet on the ropes or low blows or eye rakes or anything along those lines, then we'll know he's got an ulterior motive and he's only saying all this shit because he wants that NXT title.
Exactly. I don't think I could have said it any better, partner. We can move on.
Up next, we got the news that we are going to be getting Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair next week, as well as the match that you mentioned earlier, where each War Games team will choose a representative to have a singles match with each other, where the winner's team will get the advantage in War Games. And then we get to our main event, Velveteen Dream versus Lars Sullivan. All I really have in my notes here are that it was a solid match. It was cool that they kind of teased the Dream Valley driver the one time, and then he finally got Lars up, and they really made a big deal out of the power. And then when he went for the Purple Rainmaker, Ciampa interfered, costing the match. Lars hit him with a freak accident to win, and then we got the post-match stuff, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, match was solid. I love the hope spots with Dream, coming back. I love the moment, too, early on in the match where he had Lars on the ropes pretty early, and he's outside, and the ref's counting, and Dream tells the ref, don't count him. I think Dream really thought he had something to prove. Like, I deserve to be number one contender. I'm not going to have anybody question my credibility or whatever. So I like that. Lars is impressive as always. This is another guy in an era where, the big monster character, I think, has really made a comeback with the success of Strowman. Joe's always been a very advanced kind of monster long before WWE, but he's been making his strides there. And others, Lars is another iteration of that. Still very green, but the thing that we've said about Lars is, he makes it look good. What he can do, he does very well. And even though he's limited, because I know we used to say this about Elias when he was in NXT, and I think it's only fair we apply it to Lars. He's not a baby face. You shouldn't expect him to do like 2,000 different moves. It's how he does the moves that he knows and how he carries himself. And I think he does both those things rather well. Loved the Dream Valley driver spot because Dream really communicated the effort that it took to get him up. And then just the struggle. Like, I loved how Lars was giving him such a beating throughout the match. Like, you saw Dream. I don't want to use the word stumbling, but it's the best word that comes to mind. But, like, every movement was effort. I get the Dream Valley driver. I've got to, like, stumble to the ropes, just to climb up and get that purple Rainmaker elbow. I love that Ciampa came out, bald fucks looking after each other, and then Dream takes him out, and then he comes into the freak accident. Great way for Lars to win that in a way kind of protects Dream, but not at Lars's own credibility. Because here's the thing, and this is kind of where you put yourself in a rock and a hard place. You can't expect us to forget about Lars Sullivan. This was the guy that took 3 black mass kicks from Aleister Black when he was NXT champion to put him down. Like, I like Dream. I love him. But from a kayfabe perspective, I look at the two. You wouldn't really expect Dream to beat Lars Sullivan. But the thing was, he was about to until Ciampa. So I actually felt like, all things considered, they handled it well. But going back to our Heat of the Night segment, I do think that they should tack Lars onto the match now so that he can kind of eat the pin and we can continue to broaden the Ciampa Dream story. Of course, we'll talk about it in more definitive terms next week for our TakeOver War Games preview and predictions when we know that the card is fully set in stone. That's why we always do it on the go-home week, because you never know what can happen. But with that said, Lars got the win, but I want your thoughts first on the post-match, because obviously I've got quite a bit to say. I've waited all podcasts to talk about it, but I do want you to go first and have your say. So what'd you think?
I mean, I don't even know what to say, honestly. The big thing that I know you marked the hell out for, I wasn't even listening to you marking out, but I know you did, was him holding up the title.
Yeah, and again, I want to emphasize not just him holding it up, but like him getting the elbow, then taking it, and how the crowd popped.
They really did.
Yeah.
The crowd popped in a way that I would expected you to pop.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I got into it. Like Dream was definitely working more of a babyface style, I think, than we've ever seen him, because he did like a flying dropkick to Lars and stuff like that. And the way he carried himself with Ciampa, I love that he did that DDT on the title. You know, that was fucking great. Like, dude, to me, and this is really what I wanted to talk about, because I'm gonna keep coming up to bat for him, and I know you have too, because he's so young and he's so good. Like, he's just got so much of it put together. And he's in the right place. Because here's the thing, and I'm just going to be truthful and take the gloves off here. If Dream wanted to make a career in like New Japan or PWG or like promotions that are really based on work rate, maybe even to a degree Lucha Underground, but I feel like he could get by more, because if Jake Strong fucking can, Velveteen Dream certainly could if he wanted to give it a try. But like, this character, I don't think would work he'd be another Cody Rhodes to me on the indies. He's right where he needs to be. He's in the perfect place, because this is a promotion, above all, that's going to value a character and presence and stuff like that more than how many moves you can do in a match. And like, this dude, when he gets his elbow and he's holding the title, I got goosebumps, dude. And it's not even just like he did the thing. Although, of course, like, I will not lie, you know, I'm a mark through and through. I pop for it. But just in that moment, I don't know what it was, because I watched it multiple times. I'm like, wow, that was a really big moment for him. Like, he really came off as a star to me. And then I thought, and I'll admit that I'm jumping the gun, but like, that's why I love TWitWoW and I love wrestling, because we get excited about it. Like, I thought, what if that was the WWE title? And the crowd popped like that. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy who emulates the Rick Rudes, the Randy Savages, all of that, like, to me, he has that presence. And I'll tell you, like, and I hate to keep saying it, especially because WWE has chipped away at some of my faith with some of their booking decisions in the post-Roman era, at least for the time being, because, you know, you never know what's going to happen with that one way or the other. But if Dream comes in and the Roman situation is still like, you know, he's gone and the field is either like wide open or they've got their guy, Dream could have a real shot here. He's so young and he's already so good. So that only implies, hopefully, that he would only get better as he got older. And he may one day be in a place where he's like, give me the ball, and he's scoring touchdowns. Because tonight, even despite the kind of backwards booking a little bit, he ended the segment with everybody in his corner. And I'm like, damn, that is something else. Like, holy, because they've wanted it for a long time. They've wanted to cheer for him, and now they're finally getting the chance. And I appreciate the fans for not being fickle and taking it. Because, like, wow. I think, honestly, that's going to be one of my favorite NXT moments of the year, personally, is just the crowd totally embracing him and wanting him to be their champion.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I'll be fair, because I always try and be balanced. I don't know if it was as good as when Johnny Gargano did it to Andrade and he held the title up and the crowd was like, because the crowd seemed incensed then with how over Johnny was. But it was up there. You know, Velveteen, I think, had a really great moment for himself tonight. And it really does kind of crystallize like why guys like John Cena have so much faith in him. Why you and I have so much faith in him. Because even if he doesn't have it all together right now, he has the best ally in his corner, even more so than the Machine. And that's time. Time is on his side should his health be good, which I always have to say in this day and age. But, man, I was so happy for him after tonight, because I walked away from this and I said, you know what? That's a star in the making right there. And that was definitely a career-defining moment to me for him, because, you know, who knows with the title. Again, we'll talk about that fully next week. But just even him teasing it and the crowd eating it up, I'm like, shit, man. This is good. This is really, really good. It's just going to suck when he leaves because, you know, with call-ups, you even said it earlier with the 4 Horsewomen. WWE does not have good booking with really talented entities. I would hate to see that kind of play continue with Dream, because if they really played their cards right, dude, the kid's phenomenal. Like, you know, what else can really be said? I loved everything about this. And I really love Ciampa's sell on the elbow drop, too, because, goddamn, he looked like he got shot. And he's like, fuck, everything hurts. Why did I do this? I thought it was the right choice. Yeah, and that's another thing, too, I should mention, too, like the desperation that he moved with, you know, getting the super kick, and then the DDT, and then the refs, like, all pulling at him, like, oh, God, the crowd control. Just everything to me, dude, about this was great. I'm gushing because like this really is wrestling at its best.
Yeah, this is the most over the moon I've heard you talking about an NXT segment in a while.
Yeah, dude, this was, and you know what's funny? Like they did it for a feud that, again, I don't think we've seen the best of it yet. I really like with how good these two performers are. I don't think you've gone deep enough with this yet, but yet this segment just shows me like, wow, this is why I wanted Ciampa to beat Gargano originally, because I wanted him to work with guys like this. This is everything I've wanted, and I left grinning ear to ear like an idiot. And again, let's put it in context. This is an NXT that had the misfortune of trying to go up against the Lucha Underground Season 4 finale. Now, it didn't win, because holy fucking amazeballs, that show. But in a vacuum, if you were to look at this NXT on its own merits, this is a damn good episode with a damn fine ending. So big ups to everybody, and I just really wanted the chance to put Velveteen Dream over the moon, as I'm feeling, to your point, because this kid's a fucking star. I mean, if he is not a world champion on the main roster, then WWE just really doesn't even get the entertainment part of sports entertainment at all. You know, that I think is a bigger black mark in their eyes than not getting the second W in wrestling there, which I know a lot of people complain about. But if you can't even get the entertainment right, because he is a performer, a character first and foremost, then you just fucking suck flat out. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not even suck less, you're just irredeemable. So that's all I got to say about that, man.
Well, you said quite a bit, so I don't even think I can add anything to it, so I'm not going to even touch it. We can just move on.
All right. I do appreciate you giving me that time, brother, because goddamn. But before we get to our next segment, you guys know what's coming. Just want to very quickly go through the plugs here. Guys, first and foremost, follow Ashton and myself on Twitter. Ashton's pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month of November. Already been pretty packed month, you know, and we've still got a little bit to go. So if you want to keep up with all the recordings that we're doing, any recordings that get added due to Patreon, or any recordings that get redacted because maybe something's come up, you're going to want to keep your finger on the pulse. Best way to do that is following Ashton and always checking in on his pinned tweet, the TWitWoW schedule. My pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. Now, I want to explain first and foremost, Q&A has changed. For non-Patreon donors, you get 3 Q&A questions. However, if you do donate to the Patreon, you get up to 5 Q&A questions. So it's quite a game-changing thing. You know, non-Patreon donors, you lose a question from the original 4. Patreon donors, you gain a question now at 5. So good stuff. Q&A this month will be Thursday, November 29th, because we do Q&A the last Thursday of every month. That is the 29th this month. So get your questions in. And the best way to do it is just to reply to my pinned tweet with your Q&A questions. You can also submit questions through YouTube when this video is done processing. Facebook, if you visit our Facebook page, please like it. Already mentioned Twitter and the Discord, which I will get to in a second. Be sure to check out our Teespring store. Lots of merchandise we're offering there, including TWitWoW specific merch. I'm a TWitWoW guy. I'm a TWitWoW girl. Scum Squad. We have a Scum Squad mug to drink the tears of your enemies. And wrestling specific merch from Becky Lynch to Los Ingobernables de Japón, or Andrade, you know, because it's a Tranquilo shirt. And Emma, real face of the women's revolution, because Emma kicks fucking ass. And more. So be sure to check out the Teespring and see what fits right for you. Finally, I do want to plug the Patreon. Guys, Patreon's undergone a bit of a change here. Because first of all, we hit $87 this month, but here is the new goal. If we get up to and above $120 a month, we'll be live reacting to 3 hours of wrestling every week of the following month. It'll be up to our patrons to choose which shows we react to, but this opens up the options quite a bit. Today, Ashton did a poll, and it was voted on that we would cover both episodes back-to-back of NXT UK, and that's what we did. We did not live react to 205 Live tonight, as you guys know.
Yeah, our Discord is becoming a democracy.
Yeah, I know, right? Which, let's keep it that way. I know Javaris has got all that money, but we can't let it slip into an oligarchy now. But yeah, it is a democracy for the moment. And yeah, they did vote on NXT UK back-to-back. So really cool stuff there. And that's pretty much how we're doing it now. So if you get us up to the $120 goal, we will live react to 3 hours of wrestling every week. Now, it was only a little over 80. So in case you're wondering, like, that's how it came out to two episodes of NXT UK for like, you know, a little over $80. Get to 120, then you have another hour to play with. I think, honestly, this is the best we've done with the Patreon, because now it really is like broadening your options. It's not constricting it to, oh, this is Progress, or oh, SmackDown Live and 205 Live. No, now it really has become more of a democratic open field, but we still have that targeting goal if you want all 3 hours. So now that I've laid that all out, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how can I help? You know, I want to get that 120 because 3 hours of TWitWoW, I mean, what even is life? That sounds amazing. Well, the best thing you can do is donate $3 and get membership in the TWitWoW Discord, the ultimate fan server experience. There, you will find the most passionate TWitWoW fans, as well as Ashton and myself, as we discuss everything from wrestling to video games to Game of Thrones. Pretty much, if you want to talk about it, we're here for it. That's the TWitWoW Discord. And also, with the $3, not only do you help us with our community goal to produce more live reaction content, you yourself get more content control the longer you stay in the Discord. We have, pretty much TWitWoW accounts, if you will, for people that donate. And the more money you accrue, the more power you have. To give you an example, our good friend Javaris, the TWitWoW pimp, we originally weren't going to do SmackDown live reactions. Javaris came in and he's like, hold up. I got the money for it. I want you guys to do SmackDown live reactions for the month of November. I want all that coverage leading up to Survivor Series, and we're doing it thanks to Javaris' generosity. That's the kind of power you can have. Or if you want it more straightforward, I always like using the formula. You donate $3 a month to the Discord for 10 months. You get $30. You want to cash that in all in one shot? Bam, live reaction to a 3-hour show.
And that's really the big advantage over just donating $3 a month to get into the Discord is you can really hasten that process by donating more. Like, even if you just want to go a little bit more, just do like $5 a month, then it'll only take you 6 months instead of 10 months to get to that $30 mark.
Absolutely. And so I call it a win-win-win-win. Please consider donating to the Patreon. We greatly appreciate it. And to all of our existing patrons, thank you so much for keeping Team TWitWoW strong. We greatly appreciate it. So with that said, let us get into our final segment, high spots and low shots. And, you know, honestly, I'm going to say the low shot for me is Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, sure, on one hand, half of his plan succeeded and costing Dream a match and getting there psychologically and causing him some momentum, but he wanted to put a hurting on him. He really wanted to send a message. And in the end, it was him that received a message, don't fuck with the Dream. So I'm actually going to give Tommaso Ciampa my low shot because his plan was ultimately foiled at the end of the day. Who's your low shot, Ashton?
That's a very legitimate low shot, John, and I appreciate your decision to go with that. My low shot, though, I'm going to keep it a little bit more simple. I'm going to go with the Looney Tune, Tainara Conchi.
Dude, that makes perfect sense. Much like you said to me, I completely understand that and respect that. I think that's well thought out. She lost to Dakota Kai. She's pretty much a scrub. And yeah, it makes all the sense in the world to me that she would be your low shot. As far as my high spot, I'm going to go a bit different because I've really been digging the tag division lately. I'm going to give my high spot to Heavy Machinery. They got a win over Forgotten Sons, and all it takes is one win to correct course and start gaining visibility again in the division. You know, you never know if Heavy Machinery is going to get that push to the NXT tag title. So I'm going to give them my high spot tonight.
Yeah, that definitely works. That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go a little bit out of left field here. I'm actually going to give my high spot to Johnny Gargano because he had a great promo tonight. And his character right now, in my opinion at least, is the most interesting thing going on in NXT. And he does have a match with Aleister Black coming up at War Games. But we could also, I mean, it hasn't been made official, but might as well call that a #1 contendership match.
Yeah, that is true, dude. That is actually a great point. I didn't even think about that little tag on at the end, like a de facto #1 contender match, given that Aleister got screwed out of the title. Johnny's been chasing the title because of his issues with Ciampa. Even though Ciampa on Twitter, man, he's really been sweet talking Gargano, saying that he misses him. He wants a DIY reunion.
I know, dude. Oh my God. See, but that's the thing though, is Gargano is still absolutely disgusted by Ciampa. So like, I was even thinking, like, how nuts would it be if we got a complete role reversal and like Ciampa is all like trying to butter up to Gargano, and Gargano finally gives him, and he's like, "Fine, we can team up," and they like enter the Dusty Classic and win it or some shit like that. But then Gargano turns on Ciampa, and it's like, I still haven't forgotten the shit that you put me through don't think that just because we are a couple of talented performers that can effectively win tag team matches together, that I'm still okay with you, because I'm not. Fuck you. I want that title. And then he gets the title shot.
Yeah, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world to me, dude. I like the direction that you've gone here, giving Gargano your high spot and just your vision for Gargano Ciampa. That makes all the sense in the world to me. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, guys, that's it. High spots, low shots in the books, and that means NXT TWitWoW is in the books. So with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinating commentary action. Guys, be sure to comment on this video when it's done processing. What did you think of Velveteen Dream getting one up on Tommaso Ciampa and posing with the NXT Championship? Well, the crowd was just so into it. Do you think that was kind of a career-defining moment for him? Do you see the potential in Velveteen Dream that TWitWoW does? You know, how far do you think he can go? What is his ceiling in your eyes? I really want to hear you guys about that. What did you think of Johnny Gargano's promo? You guys heard from us that we really seem to dig it. Paul William Gregory, TWitWoW fan in the chat, he didn't really seem to care for it. He's not totally sold on it yet. Which side do you take? Did you love it? Were you looking for a little something more from Johnny? Are you still undecided and you want to see more to really make a definitive decision? How excited are you for War Games? You know, how hyped are you at this moment before we do our preview and predictions next week? Talk to us, talk to us, talk to us. Guys, be sure to like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Subscribe to your new favorite wrestling podcast if you haven't, and click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. And guys, we will see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time, because goddamn, we are reviewing it officially. Ultima Lucha Cuatro Part 2, the Lucha Underground Season 4 finale. We're unpacking all of it. You heard our live reactions tonight, and if you didn't, they're on the channel. Now we're going through it again, and we're giving our formal analytical review, really breaking it down. What did we think? And we're still hyped as hell, believe me. And we're just going to go through all of it. The hype for Season 5 is so fucking real. God damn. But yeah, I can't wait to unpack this with my coordinate commentary here. We hope you're all there. I love the turnout for the season finale tonight. Hope to see as many faces tomorrow. Again, that's at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And until then, guys, tune in and peace out.